Hi, it's Martin here from Steffi Bull Promotions TV. Here with the legend, Junior Switch Hitter, Witter. What we're going to do, we're going to have a chat with Junior about his boxing career, how he got into boxing, and the plans that are ongoing now. He's finished his career. So, first of all, Junior, thank you very much for giving us the time to have a chat.
No problem. Got plenty of time at the minute.
Not going anywhere. Junior, a lot of our viewers, the questions that have been asked are, what first got you into boxing?
A friend. I had a friend at school, and he talked about he was going boxing, where he went, what he was doing, and I just looked at it. I went, "So you don't get in trouble for hitting people?" And he went, "Yeah." I went, "I want some of that." And that's how I got into it. Went to Roadsway School. You had the Bradford Championships that started around that time. He'd been going for 2 weeks. It was like a 6-week course. I went for 4 weeks of it, which was actually 4 lessons because it was every Friday. Went to that, did that, enjoyed that, entered the championships, met my old trainer, Ali Callan, and then had a couple. After that, I spent a little bit of time off, went back a couple months later, joined up the Bradford Police Boys Amateur Boxing Club, and just went from there.
Because you've got like a really, I think it's in the nickname, like the switch hitter. You had like a really likeable stance that made you stand out to like the, not so much disrespecting boxers, to the standard boxers. Was that something? So when you first went into the gym, did someone turn around and say, "You've got something different that's gonna take you far"?
To an extent, yeah, but it was just a case of I went along and I developed my style as I went along, and I added to it. I brought the switching in when about 13, 14, because what we did in my old gym was we went through the book every year. Started with the jabs, went to double jab, triple jabs, and after 2 years, I thought, I've done all this. I'm going to change it up, make it a little more interesting for myself. And I started doing southpaw, and it was poor to start with, but then it just got better and stronger as the years went on, and I developed that into my style. And then when I went pro with Brendan, he added to it, and we just added to what I already had, and just did do what I do.
Well, as you just mentioned with Brendan, some of the fighters that have come out of that stable, they're some of the best that's probably ever been. What was it like training around all those stars? Is that something that kind of made you the fighter that you was? Like, was you constantly learning off them day in, day out?
We constantly learn off each other day in, day out, and it wasn't always the best. Yeah, I learned stuff off Johnny. I learned stuff off Naz. I learned stuff off a guy called Jason Collins, who was officially just a journeyman. So it didn't just matter about, it wasn't just learning from the best. You learned from people who weren't that good, people who did things slightly wrong. We had a guy called Manu who took something I did, improved on it, brought it back, and it became, and everybody looked at me and thought, that's really good. And I re-looked at it. I looked at what I'd already done. I asked him where he got it. He says, yeah, from that fight. And I went, really? Went back, watched the fight, seen how I did it, seen how he does it now, and redid it again to make it me.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, with you coming from that stable, it'd be fun. It'd be good as well because you're all, like you just said, you're all coming off different kind of techniques. You're all learning off each other, and I think that's why the gym was so good, is because there was constantly different boxers. You wasn't all coming from the same kind of stance, was you? Like, you wasn't all come forward fighters. You wasn't always backward fighters. There was kind of, you had the Johnny Nelsons, you had the Naz, you had you. So I think training in them days in that gym would be fun because you'd be constantly learning.
You constantly have to adapt what you were doing. Getting in with Chris Saunders was completely different to getting in with Naz, which is completely different to Johnny, to Ryan, to Keaton, John Keaton. Big, strong cruiserweight who just thuds through you. And you've got to find a way to deal with that. So I had that. I had Isham Pickering, let's have a look. There were loads. There was a kid called Martin Smith. And I remember boxing Martin Smith. And at this point, I'd been at gym a couple of years, and he'd been out and he'd come back and he was just getting in shape again. And I stood there, I saw him walking, I thought, yeah, he knows everyone. He's obviously been in the gym before, but I didn't know him. And I stood there and I thought, right, okay, we're going to spar this round. And he put his hands down like Kirkman Lang, hands on his shorts. And he just stood in front of me. And I'm just like, this guy disrespecting me, of course. He doesn't know. I didn't hit him for the first round. I didn't land one punch. Not a case of I only landed a jab or I didn't land anything. And at this point, I thought I was good. And it just made me reassess, came back, next round, it got better. And it just helped improve me. So for me, there were that many styles, there were that much different ability, type of fighters, come forward, going backwards. People do things very similar, but still different. Andrew Facey, shots he threw, he used to throw a shot, we call it handbag shot. And it was just a step back, a clubbing right hand. And it didn't look right, but it landed with that much power. It knocked people out. It beat Macklin with it. So it didn't matter where everybody was in that gym in the pecking order of who was the biggest star. Every time you got in that gym, you were in with someone who was going to be dangerous.
And I think it's still, I think like Dominic's still got that gym like it is now. Like you look at some of the videos that they're posting. You got the likes of Williams in there. You got Kid Galahad. You've got so many different styles of boxers, and it's something that's just been that it's just gone through the history, and so I just think it's carried on, which is good to see. One of the interesting points of your career is your first fight was actually a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was classed as a draw. It was down as a draw. I should have won it. Cameron Rayside, 6-3s. I got 2 weeks' notice. I think I got my license on something like the 3rd of January, and I boxed something like 14 days later or something. And that was it. It was just like, there you go, you can fight. He's the Midlands area welterweight champion. He's got one loss on his record, which he lost because of a cut, which was apparently winning the fight. And that was it. I was in. Sink or swim. And I swum. And I got better from that, but that fight taught me a lot.
And looking, and as you said, it taught you a lot. And then I think after your after that, I think you went on a run of around about 8-9 wins, and then another draw with a gentleman called, I think that was Mark Ramsey in Chess Hunt. So all these fights that you was having, Julia, I take it you was learning. You was learning day by day in the ring, like fight on fight.
I was learning fight by fight. I was learning training every day, but the fights, I wasn't getting a load of notice. I think Cameron Race I got 2 weeks. I think the fight after that I had 2 days. Fight after that I had a week. Fight after that I had 2 days. Fight after that I had I think my 4th fight I had a day's notice. I walked into the gym on the Friday morning to train, and he went, "You're fighting tonight." And that was just part of it. It wasn't. I want one of these fights where people saying, "Yeah, I need camp, and I need a 3-week camp, I need a 6-week camp. I've got a 3-rounder." And it's just like, if you can fight and you're training, that's your job. Be fit, be ready, and that's how we lived.
And then, yeah, like you said, it was basically so. Sometimes you didn't even know if you was going to be training. You didn't know if you was training or you was going to be fighting. So I think that would probably that probably wouldn't happen nowadays, especially at the moment with the bubble situation. Some of the losses on your career, you fought some of the best, Zab Judah, Timothy Bradley, so you can actually hold your head up high after looking back at it and say, you know what, I actually did fight the best.
I fought the best I could have fought at the time when I could have fought him. Zab Judah fight 9 days' notice. Pound for pound world champion at the time.
Why was that? Why was you not given the notice? Like, was that something to do with you being not being disrespectful, being like not a big name coming out of that gym, or?
It was to do with the fact that Frank Warren at the time, who was managing me, kept giving me late notice fights. He didn't see me as being good enough to get a world title. He didn't see me as being a future star. And so he always there were people always said, you don't sell tickets. But if I say to someone, right, tomorrow night I'm boxing, can you go? £50 a ticket, there's you and your missus, yeah? You need your food, your drink, your accommodation, and we're going to London. How many people can do it? No, we're in Manchester tonight. I'm boxing next weekend. People need time to plan. And if you look at Frank Warren when he does his shows, they have 6-9 month build up. I mean, yeah, they'll have these days 6 weeks. Six weeks is a nothing camp. They want 3 months to 6 months to build up the fight, to build up the interest, to get people in the venues. Now, when I'm given a week's notice, 2 weeks' notice, even a month's notice, it's hard to get people who haven't already planned to go to a show to go. And there's those who will come in because of me, but still going to buy tickets from box office because it's easier for them. And it's easier for me. I'm not having to run around sell tickets. It's the headache of the sport, as a lot of boxers know.
Is that why? Is that why, you know, the big Sky Sports, I think it was on a Friday night, Ricky Hatton just got a victory, and then yourself was basically calling out Ricky. Was that something in your head saying, you know what, if I can get this Ricky Hatton fight, there's going to be a camp behind this? Or would you have fought Ricky on a week's notice, or would that fight have had to have been with?
I'd have fought Ricky at a day's notice. It wasn't a case of I was bothered by anything in that respect. It was just a case of the politics around it. Frank liked him. Frank was protecting him. He'd sold him well. He was bringing big revenue in, and he wanted to protect him. And the best way to protect him was to keep him away from me.
How do you think that fight would have gone?
I'd stopped him. It's just one of the things I definitely know. Ricky was very good at what he did, very good. But he only did that where the range what I had and the power I had throughout made the difference.
Would you have put, you know, you got a couple of fighters now. Would you put them in on a day's notice?
Would I put them in a day's notice?
Yeah, probably, because he's
probably not. No, I've got like the main difference between now and then is the weight situation. I was always more or less at weight. I've got a fighter called Matt Hunter who's good, who I could put in at a day's notice, but his lifestyle, what he does, he works, and everything else around him, his wife, kids, and that, all that takes time to organise. And whereas when I came through, it was just me that I was worried about. I was in the camp. I lived down in Sheffield. My missus was looking after herself, so I wasn't bothered about anybody else. It was just a case of, am I ready? Where I didn't have to worry about the kids or the animals or anything like that, because everything was easily taken care of. Whereas all the fighters now that are coming through, they have a little bit more responsibility. Life has changed. The way we look at boxing, it's a different game to what it was when I came through. So a day's notice is not something I'm really going to look at for like a Dom Hunt.
And as I said before, when we was chatting off air, he'd probably be in the gym when you give him the call. He's just constantly working.
He's never out the gym. I could do with a gym full of Dom Hunts. He trains hard. He's got a good personality. He wants to learn. He's learning all the time. He works hard. Yeah, I mean, if anything, his own problems, he tries too hard.
You can't. Yeah. No, I get that. Moving on, coming towards the end of your career, I think it finished in France. I think it was France, went on a split decision. Did you know then that the time was up?
It wasn't. It wasn't. I went to that fight. I won that fight. I should have got that fight. I definitely did enough. But away in France against the French kid, I didn't get a decision. And everybody who watched the fight said I won it by about 4 rounds. And that's how I saw it. But I came back from that, had a little bit of time off, came back, got back in the gym, got back into shape, and tried to get another fight. And spent probably till 2018 is when I decided that if I don't get a fight penciled in the next couple of months, I'm done. And that time came, there was nothing penciled in, and I just went, yeah, I'm done. Moved on and became coach. I was already doing bits within the Ingle gym, and I was there amateur coach. I was their head amateur coach at the time. I was working with Dom Hunt coming through. He was still an amateur at the time. I worked with the kids in the gym. And then after that, after Brendan passed, everything kind of changed and ended up setting my own gym up in Rotherham.
Quick question here. If there was a fight a couple of months ago with the legends, Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, there's been a lot of other talk about potentially Joe Calzaghe coming out of retirement, etc. If the offer was right, would that ever tempt you?
Definitely. But it's one of those things whereby I'd have to be in fighting shape. I don't look out of shape now, and I don't feel in shape by a long way. And I'd have to get into some type of fighting shape. And if I could get into fighting shape, I'd definitely consider it against the right opponent. So say if it were Ricky and we were given enough time to actually train and get his weights down to make a reasonable show of how good we actually were, yeah, I'd definitely do it.
Yeah, there's the title. There's the headline, Junior versus Ricky. Let's get it on, Eddie. So you say after the career, you then become into being a trainer. Was that something you always dreamed of when you was a boxer as well? Did you ever see yourself being a trainer?
I always thought I'd be a trainer. I thought I'm not too fussed about management. I wouldn't mind being a trainer because that's a part of the game. Okay. I started recording. Yeah, I always thought I was going to go back to being a trainer. Coming through, I thought that's where I'm going to end up, becoming a coach. My old amateur coach, Alec Allen, God rest his soul, always said that you've got to give back. Yeah. And boxing's given me a lot, and I just want to give back, pass it on, pass my knowledge on, pass my experience, and help people in their lives. Because not everyone's going to be a champion, not everyone's going to be a superstar. In fact, there's very few who become superstars and become super rich. There's those who become champions and can take that and make that work for them. Yeah. And there's those who become fighters, and just what it teaches them as a person helps them grow and become a better person and stay out of trouble, stay out of prisons. Yeah, I mean, have a life they're happy with. So that's what I want to do.
So is that the plan now? Build that gym where you've got Matt, you've got Dom. Are you looking to build, or are you looking to progress with them too so far, and then potentially some more? Or
I'm going to progress with them as far as they've got the time they've got left in the game. I've got other amateurs coming through who were almost ready to turn pro. I've got people who are at that age where it's pushing on. It's like, yeah, okay. I'd have been thinking about probably the end of this year turning them pro if they'd had an active last year and through this year. So I've got people who are on the ballpark of turning pro, age, experience, skill levels. So it's like I've got a few coming through, and they're not people I'm going to expect to come through next year and become a superstar and become a household name. But they are people who can come through in the next few years, become a household name.
how far do you think Dom could actually go?
Well, boxing's like this, you never know. If you get the right fights, things happen. If you look at all sorts of fighters, Steve Robinson, yeah, was classed as a nothing special, just a little bit of a journeyman, 50-50 record, gets in, wins the world title, defends it 7 times. Yeah, so you never actually fully know how far someone can go, but he's got the right attitude, he's got the right determination. He'll definitely win a title, British, Irish, international, and then we just like moving on to the next level, European, world. It's what opportunities come at the right time. If the opportunities present themselves against the right fighters, he will win.
Boxing in 2020 was probably the only thing that kept a lot of people. That's probably wrong to say. Boxing in 2020 was one of the things that kept a lot of people going. You've seen some absolute cracking fights. You've seen Dylan White versus Povetkin, where Povetkin got a punch from the. People say it was just a lucky punch, but it was just it was a superb setup. You've got Gervonta Davis lighting up with a uppercut against Santa Cruz. What would you say was your highlight of 2020?
Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce's performance, just using the jab and just making people understand that the jab is such a vital weapon and it's a brilliant weapon. He did it that week. The week after it happened again. And I just think, when you look at that, and it's people like Joe Joyce are just like, you are who have come through boxing from the amateurs, come through with good schooling, good ability, and you deserve the rewards you're getting. And it just showed how just the basics is so important.
See, I spoke to Lyndon last, I think it was Monday just gone, and I said, I said the thing to Lyndon, I says, you probably knew that your game plan was to beat Yard with the jab, but not many boxing fans, not many people watching TV just want to see a fight won by the jab. Boxing people like me, yourself, you actually realise how important the jab is. But I said to Lyndon, do you think your mind was made up even more watching Joe Joyce beat Dubois with just the jab to you beating Yard with just the jab? Because that's literally, it was 2 weeks in a row where we just did a masterclass of jabs, of what the jab could actually do.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks of back-to-back where the simple basics, the jab, the bread and butter of boxing, of the fight game, the most important punch, my old trainer says, Brendan used to say it, Alec Allen used to say, it's the most important punch, it sets everything up. And I would have liked to see Lyndon throw more right hands, because that would have cemented the win better. But I just think he did exactly what he had to do, and I'm just like, it wasn't the most exciting fights in some respects, but if you were watching that live, it was extremely exciting because there was the potential of the big shots landing. Yeah, the fact that I beat you with such a basic shot because you had no defense to it staggering.
Yeah, no, mate, I totally agree. I remember watching that Joyce fight, and I remember, I think it was around about round 8. You could see with Joyce's eye, I thought to myself, I don't think this is going to be going on much longer. I really don't. I think Dubois' eye, I thought Joyce is going to break. Joyce is going to stop. It's going to get stopped. This is because he literally couldn't see, and it was just constant. Joyce's jab. It was just constant in the face, precise on that eye as well. It was just a masterclass. But the lightweight division is the division at the moment that I can't get enough of. I've never known.
It's absolutely on fire, the lightweight division.
And I feel so sorry for Luke Campbell.
Yeah, listen, there's some absolutely brilliant fights. Some brilliant fights happened to set up more. It's not like there's only one fight. Like at one time with the heavyweights, it was, well, is it Joshua or is it Wilder, people were saying, or maybe Tyson. 2, maybe 3 fights in it, realistically. But now when you look at the division, especially at lightweight, there's so many different possibilities of great fights and the fights you want to see.
If you used to put them all in the tournament, who'd win?
Who? Lightweights?
Yeah.
I'm going for Davis.
Gervonta Davis.
But it's one of those where everybody has to be on their A game on every night, otherwise they can get beat.
Yeah.
So those just want to watch.
It's definitely something that I hope 2021 brings us more lightweight division and Fury versus Joshua.
Definitely, that's a big fight. It is a huge fight. I've got so many people trying to tell me that Joshua's going to absolutely destroy him. I'm just like, no.
I think it'll be a lot harder than what I think could be a lot more competitive than what people think.
I've got without a doubt Tyson winning, and I got Tyson running away with it. To be honest, I don't think Joshua's got much of a chance. He's got a puncher's chance, but that's all I'll give him.
Okay, I'd say I think Joshua can box better than what people think. I think he proved it against Pulev, and I think he proves it against Ruiz. But obviously, Ruiz is a lot smaller. Tyson Fury is just phenomenal, and literally, there's nothing saying that Joshua can beat him. But I do think he'll be a bit more competitive than what people say.
I don't think he's not going to try. I think he's going to try. I just don't think he's got the range to deal with Tyson Fury. And that's the problem. He just hasn't got the range. What he does brilliantly. And if it were a case of, does he do what he does better than what Tyson Fury does? He probably does. But he's only got that one thing. And I just think Tyson Fury has too many tools. And he knows how to maul. He knows how to brawl. He knows how to box. He's got orthodox, he's got southpaw, he switches. And I think AJ's just got left, right, left hook, uppercut. And it's like, for this instance, I think it's too basic against someone who is an excellent boxer.
Yeah. But I think that fight has to happen with fans.
Hopefully, I really do.
I don't think that fight will happen without fans.
No. I think that fight will happen in fans. I mean, with fans. And I think it will happen abroad. I don't think it will happen in England.
Yeah, I think abroad as well. Junior, thank you very much for giving us time. I know the dogs get a bit excited. Hopefully we get to see each other in 2021. Keep you and the family safe. You and the family stay safe. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Take care, pal.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.